Hi, my name is Johanna. I'm a PhD student and I make videos about whatever catches my fancy. Today, what catches my fancy is the idea of language as a conduit. So as a sort of, what's the English word other than conduit? Is conduit a word people know? I didn't when I first learned about it years ago, but also English is my first language. Language as a sort of pipe or tube. If you are thinking, hey, this video looks exactly like that other video about aphasia, then yes, I am filming back to back, so same clothing and same day and still noisy because of warmth. Hot day. Sorry. Right, so if you in any way have taken any university courses on linguistics, you will know all of what I'm saying today. But if you haven't studied humanities or you're just curious in some way, then this is a video for you, learning about the way we speak about language. Don't worry, it's not gonna be as complicated as it seems. So, Linguistics 101, Saussure. Oh, and this video is reductive. I am not trying to do a university course. I am trying to do entertaining knowledge. So, this video is made to make you curious. If you actually want knowledge, go read an actual book on this. Right. Saussure. Once upon a time, linguistics was all about trying to find connections between things. So, for example, a linguistic scientist would try and look at the word mom in different languages and try and find a connection. Oh, mom has an M because we suck at the teat of the mom, and that creates an M. And thus, a lot of words for mom in languages have an M or whatever. I'm not an expert. Please don't read more about it. But the idea was that all words were that way because of something, that every single word had a reason for being that word. And then our boy Saussure came and changed linguistics. He said, there is no reason. Every word is arbitrary. Arbitrary meaning that words are just words. Whether you call this a hand or a stool or a cat, if we all agree that this is a cat, then we know what we mean when we say cat. And that is all. That language is arbitrary, words are arbitrary, we just sort of agree on whatever, and if we all know what it means, it's all good. His concept of language was the theory of signs. We have the signifié and the signifiant. So he divided language into our mental representation of a word and our signifiant, what we call that word. If we say tree, we will all have different signifiés of a tree. If we imagine that all people see words as pictures for a bit, we could say that some people see a big tree, others see a small tree, maybe see a collection of trees. So no individual understanding is the same, but we will use the same words. So our signifiant is something we have agreed upon, but our signifié may differ. So here language is very much a conduit. It's like a pipe, right? We put something into something and people take it, understand something and put something else out. So we put out a signifiant and people take that signifiant, have their own signifié, put out a new signifiant, and the other person has their own signifié. So language is very much a pipe. We send out stuff, we get stuff. We send out stuff, we get stuff. Then Peirce. Is he American? The Danish Wikipedia says that his name is pronounced Peirce. So Peirce should be good. Then came Peirce, and I'm not gonna go too much into his theory, but he added another aspect to language understanding. And that is basically what happened. People added more and more concepts, said this is too simple. We are not just putting stuff out, taking stuff in. Language science went more and more into the idea that no, we do not just have words and understanding. We have context, time, we have past, we have future. A lot of researchers said, no, this situation is not just the people, there's a lot to this situation around this specific situation. Someone like Bakhtin said a situation is not just a situation, it is also everything that has gone before the situation, every past experience, and it is the perceived future, the expectations of each party. This video would be very, very long if I took you through the entire history of linguistic research. I won't, even though it would be fun. So what you should be getting here is we have someone like Saussure who revolutionized linguistics. He was so important and he did great work, but he also did very simple work. And we have since expanded our understanding of language and communication so much more, because that leads us to the concept of the conduit metaphor. Sort of interestingly, even though for a long time we have known that the idea of language as a pipe, as a give-take, is way too simple, we still use this. And it's not just researchers, it's all of us. We use the conduit metaphor so much, and that is interesting. Wikipedia has a lovely collection of examples of the conduit metaphor. I just want to say that Wikipedia hasn't been my source for this research, okay? But, you know, if they have a nice collection, why not use it? So Michael J. Reddy, who wrote about this concept of the conduit, and again, a conduit is a sort of pipe. Maybe everyone knows what a conduit is. I don't know. And here is why you are also part of the conduit metaphor. You may be thinking, of course language is more than words and understanding. Of course there's a social context and a past and a present, you know, a future. Of course. But I'm sure you're also guilty of this. So you may say you can't get your concepts across to the class that way. His feelings came through to her only vaguely. They never give us any ideas. So the idea of giving ideas and sending them. We say this a lot. Another concept is speakers inserting thoughts through words. So here the idea is the thoughts inside their head becoming words and being put into words. So that's sort of a different process in the conduit. For example, he loads an argument with more viewpoints than it can withstand. There's words containing thoughts, listeners extracting thoughts from words. So, for example, they're reading things into the poem. And yeah, this whole video could just be me reading these examples. Go have a look yourself if you're curious about more. But it is super interesting how we speak about language. And I still do it. A lot of the times I use these metaphors in my everyday language when I talk to people about understanding them and wanting to be understood. This is interesting because the way we speak about things heavily affect how we understand things, how we think about things, how they exist in our brains as concepts. Lakoff and Johnson have a wonderful book called Metaphors We Live By, which explain this idea of different types of metaphors and how they affect how we think about things. So if we speak about politics as a war, we will understand politics in a more aggressive way. We will act more aggressively in politics. This is of course a complex concept that I've just reduced to 5 seconds. Go read more about it if you're curious. That is all to say, we think about words in a certain way. We think about communication in a certain way. How does that affect us? If we don't understand something, do we blame ourselves? Often we blame either ourselves or we blame the communicator for not being clear enough, while we know that a lot of communication is dependent on all sorts of different factors. So maybe we should stop thinking about speaking as if it were a tube when we know that the world is so much more complex. I hope this made you curious. I hope if you're curious that you will not just take my word for it, but that you will research more on linguistics and how we think about language. And more than anything, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.